All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this video is going to be on the topic that the burden of the word of Yahweh was given to the elected nation of Israel. And the reason why I'm going to call it a burden, right, is because ultimately, and you have to understand what's in Romans the 11th chapter to get this, right? Ultimately, man, right? Every single Israelite is going into the kingdom ultimately in the distant future, in the years of infinity and beyond. Every single Israelite that once upon a time has believed or scoffed, whatever you want to say, every single Israelite that was good, every single Israelite that once upon a time was considered two-thirds, sons of Belial, daughters of Belial, fools, whatever you want to say, unbelieving, faithless, Greeks, Jew, Greek, right? They're all going to be in the kingdom, every single one of them. And then eventually Israelites that didn't even exist in any of the previous societies, they're going to be in the kingdom as well, right? They're not going to, people that didn't know anything about an Edomite, never seen one in their life, they're going to be in the kingdom, right? But the burden of the word of the Lord, right? That's what the word of the Lord is considered sometimes in the scripture, and I believe it's in Malachi, the burden of the word of the Lord. But I'm going to go to Romans 11 first. The burden of the word of the Lord was given to the elect only, right? And it's a burden because regardless of whether you believe right now or not, you're going to be in the kingdom. But Yahweh gave a specific burden to the elect. The elect are the only ones that care right now about whether our nation has any honor in the future or not. Nobody else really, like all these other Jakes, they don't really give a shit. I was listening to what O'Shea Duke Jackson was talking about, and I was just like, man, this guy really don't care. He really don't care whether we're Israelites or not. Like, he's not joking. I was listening to what the Apostle Dahar was talking about it. I was just like, man, this guy really don't care if we're Israelites or not, does he? And then when you hear like these Fugazi podcast, no Fugazi and all that, when you hear these guys like Anton Daniels, they really do not care if we're the Israelites or not. They don't care. People like Diddy, they don't care if we're the Israelites. They could care less. All these Jake celebrities, they don't care because they haven't been given the burden of the word of the Lord. They haven't been made to care about this, right? They haven't been given the faith that makes them care. Yet for all that, they're still going to be in the kingdom. Romans chapter 11 and verse 26, and so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, they shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. And the new covenant is going to remove the sins from every Israelite. Now, due to reincarnation, every Israelite is going to make it, right? That's the reason why all Israel is going to be saved, because every single Israelite that don't make it now is going to be reincarnated. Now, some people will try and say it don't mean that, it don't mean this. They've still yet to this day to give a better explanation than what we're giving. We're saying all Israel is going to be saved because literally every single Israelite that exists now, has existed in the past, is going to exist, is going to receive salvation. That's what we're saying. And we're saying that this is going to happen through reincarnation. Now, all you people out there that you're going to scoff, create a better narrative, explain a better reason why this is going to happen and what we're saying then, or come up with an alternative breakdown. Until you do that, right, don't question our one. Make up your own. It's easy to say what ain't, but it's difficult to say what is. Anyone can say what it ain't, man. But can you say what it is, though? Right? It's easy to say, oh, I don't mean that. It don't mean what you're talking about. Okay, what does it mean then? You're laughing about what we're saying. Ha ha, our answer's funny. We're saying 2 + 2 = 4. You're laughing. Ha ha ha, no it don't. Okay, what does it equal? Well, I don't know, but it don't equal what you're saying. Oh. So you've got a mouth to scoff, right? But you ain't got a mouth to explain. That's a real weak position to be in. Verse 28, as concerning the gospel, They are enemies for your sake. And this is talking about the Israelites that don't believe. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. So as touching being chosen in general, all the Israelites are beloved for the Father's sake. What fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And I believe that the word, when you look that up in the Greek for fathers, is pater, Pater, which ultimately means forefathers. All of the Israelites are beloved for the Father's sake because they're all going to receive the promise that was given unto Abraham, right? All of them. But the burden of the word of the Lord, that thing that makes you care and have like a royal integrity, man, and a boldness to want your people to rule rather than just want your people to be part of another nation's kingdom. That's been given to the Israelites of the elect only. The burden of the word of the Lord, man, the burden. Because ultimately, Yahweh didn't have to, like, he already knows that we're all going to make it anyway. And he's making people care about something that he already knows he's going to give them anyway, whether they care or not. Because the Israelites that don't care, they're getting it anyway. like it's all a game for Yahweh, right? And we're just all people that are playing in it. But the burden, I'm going to say it again, the burden of the word of the Lord was given to the elect only. And the reason why I'm calling it a burden is because it's in the scriptures, it's called a burden, right? But then at the same time, it's a burden because the Israelites that don't believe, they're still going to get the kingdom anyway. And I'm reading about it right now, verse 29, for the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. For as ye in times past have not believed God, yet now have believed through their unbelief, because they've been given the burden of the word of the Lord. They've been given the burden of faith, if you can even call faith a burden. But I'm calling faith a burden in this particular video because the Israelites that don't have faith are going to be in the kingdom anyway. Now, there's certain glories and honors that people that have faith are going to receive that people that don't have faith are not going to receive. For example, seeing this kingdom go from all the country names that exist now to all these lands be completely changed to new names, and to see the kingdom go from what it looks like now to the beautiful Garden of Eden place it's going to become. That's a blessing that none of the people that didn't have faith are going to know about. To see the phases of Esau's pride just deteriorate over those thousands of years, man. Because in those maybe in a couple of hundreds of centuries, a couple of centuries of Esau being in that captivity, he might still be proud. But to see him truly phase out and go from that first wave that knew what Starbucks was to that phase of Israelite, of Edomites that are not going to know about a Starbucks, they're not going to know about America, they're not going to still have had that American pride. They ain't going to have none of them stories passed down about how they used to own us in captivity. The Israelites of the elect are going to see that phase of Esau just going from being proud, knowing what he looks like in a suit and tie, knowing what he looks like in some corduroy trousers, right, and a shirt, being able to speak to the manager and get people hired or fired, from that to just being Unga Bunga Captain Caveman in the spirit, chewing on stones. The Israelites of the elect are gonna get to experience that. The other Israelites are not gonna get to experience all of that, man. Right? There's many things that immortality beginning now can give you, rather than you receive your immortality 500 years into the kingdom, or 1,000 years into the kingdom, or 2,000, 3,000, 4, 5, a million years into the kingdom. There's going to be Israelites that are born while the kingdom's a million years old. There's going to be Israelites that are born when the kingdom's a trillion years old. But there's going to be Israelites that are changed and made immortal at the beginning of the kingdom, when the kingdom is not even truly established. Right? There's going to be Israelites that become immortal at the moment Yahushua returns during the day of the Lord. And they're going to know everything that's took place from then till forever. Right? So there is blessings for being given the burden of the word of the Lord. Yet the Israelites that are not of the elect, they're going to also be able to experience the kingdom forever as well. But the burden of the word of the Lord was given to certain groups of Israelites, man, the elect. that thing that makes them care, that thing that makes them be angry about the foolishness of our people rather than just be ignoring it, the thing that makes them decide, you know what, I know it's going to hurt their so-called black woman's feelings, but I have to curse her ass out. I have to. I can't not do it. No, I have to curse her ass out. I have to tell her that she needs to fix the hell up. I have to. Right? I can't not do it. I have to speak on this. Right? Verse 30. Well, verse 31, for even so now have these not believed, that through your mercy they may also obtain mercy. So through the burden of the word of the Lord, the burden of faith that the elected nation of Israel have been given, the other Israelites are going to receive it. They're going to receive the kingdom. They're going to receive mercy as well, which the mercy is ending up in the kingdom, even though we don't deserve it. Verse 32, for Yahweh have concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all, because ultimately every single one of us has been faithless. We've sinned, we've run off. If you want to say you haven't, that's on you. You ain't going to catch me saying I ain't sinning. You ain't going to catch me saying that. I already know I don't deserve to be on the chariot. Now, if I end up on one, that's beautiful. But do I deserve to be on one? No. And in my opinion, does anybody deserve to be on one? No, they don't. Nobody deserves to be on one. Yet the thing is, even though we don't deserve to be on one, we're going to end up on them though. Even though we don't deserve to be immortal and have the blessings continually forever, we're going to, right? We're going to be. Even though we don't deserve it, man, because Yahweh loves us, right? Verse 33, oh, the depth of the riches of both of the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh, how unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out. Because why did he do it this way? We don't know. We're just thankful though. For who have known the mind of the Lord, or who have been his counselor? Nobody has, right? Or who have first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again. Nobody gave him anything, man. We don't even know how old Yahweh is. All we know is that he's been around forever. But how long's forever existed? We don't know. We don't know how long forever has been. We don't know this. Like, when we actually try and think about this, and we've all tried to think about this from the time where our age was single digits till now, and every time we think about it, we get the same answer. We don't understand. We don't get it. We don't understand how something can have always existed, yet it has to be true. And this is who Esau is trying to fight against. He's a complete fool. Verse 36, for of him and through him and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. Amen. Right now, let me find a scripture. I believe it's Malachi, man, which says the burden of the word of the Lord. Okay, here we go. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. Right? The burden of the word of the Lord was given to the elect and the elect only. That thing that makes them care and have honor in their nation was given only to the Israelites, man, of the elect. It wasn't given to nobody else. Nobody else of our nation cares. When I was listening to that O'Shea Duke Jackson guy, I was like, man, this guy really don't care. He was like, I'm down to be Baptist. It's easy. It's easy to be Baptist. Yeah, it's easy. But something being easy, when the hell's that ever been? That same guy will say that men shouldn't be lazy and should work hard and work bare hours a week, like Kevin Summers used to say. He'd say that. But then he wants the easy way when it comes to being about the Bible. Like, he's got, like, all these guys, they don't care. All these YouTubers, these so-called black YouTubers, they've all heard about this, but they don't care at all. They don't care at all, man. They could care less about whether we're Israelites or not. They really don't understand the big deal that it is if we actually are the Israelites rather than what the world told us we are. They don't get it. But then these same people talk about some anti-emetic. They were talking all that. The anti-S word. They were talking all that. But then they don't understand what it would mean if we're actually the Israelites. They don't get it, man. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 25. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For you see your calling, brethren, Now, let me carry on reading, man. For you see, you're calling brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but God have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things that are mighty. He gave the burden of believing in this to the weak, right? He's gave it to the weak, man, so that they can confound the strong. Because most of the, you ain't gonna see too many 6'8", super handsome Jakes that can just walk on the street and pull literally. Yo, there's literally certain Jakes in this world, yeah. They're 6'8", and some people might know what I'm talking about. They're 6'8". God's made them be handsome. There might be Absalom in the reincarnation, yeah, and they just roll upon, walk in the street anywhere in the world. They'll stand in the street somewhere and they got their cameraman on the side, and the women just walk up to them, and not ugly ones neither. Well, some ugly ones, but attractive ones too, in groups, and just holler at the guy. You understand? There's some Jakes in the world that have got it like that. You ain't gonna see them be about something like this, even though the person I'm talking about, they've made a clothing brand, and I've seen them put fringes on one of his clothing items, man, that he sold to somebody. So why did he put that on there? Because he knows. He knows he knows who he is. And if he was really of any kind of integrity, he'd thank Yahweh for making him be like that. Right? But Jake, who knows with Jake, man? Who knows, man? Right? Let's carry on reading. And the basement of the world and the thing which I despise, verse 28. Have Yahweh chosen, yea, and the thing which are not, to bring to naught things that are. So a Jake that in this world don't get treated like that has been given the burden of faith, the burden of the word of the Lord. He actually knows more than that Jake, and in the future to come, he's going to be of higher stature. But it's hard for a Jake to care that's winning in this society, especially considering that it's harder for us to win in this world anyway. So Jake's already had to go through bare hoops, jump through the ring of fire to damn even make it a little bit in this world, and one or two mistakes and they lose it all. Jonathan Majors, he literally ran away from a woman that was trying to attack him, lost it all. He ain't gonna be in none of them movies like that no more. He ain't been in nothing, man. He ain't in the movie scene like that no more. A woman can literally lie and say that a man did something to them. It'd be proven that he didn't. She says, "Oops, I felt feminine, and my feminine energy was he upset me." And you know how it is with us females. He should have worded it better, and the world will be like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right." No, you need to get the same judgment what you wanted him to have now. But anyway, verse 29, that no flesh should glory in his presence. Yahweh did it this way so that no one can glory, because if we're of the elect, all the people that believe right now, we can't say, see, we're going to stun on you mans in the kingdom because you're here in the kingdom because of us. You're in the kingdom because of our faith that we had back in the day. No, because Yahweh concluded us all in unbelief, that he might have mercy on all. So we ain't, if we're of the elect, you ain't in the kingdom because of us. You're in the kingdom because Yahweh had mercy on our whole nation and sent Yahweh Shai as a sacrifice. And Yahweh Shai, when he destroyed Esau, when he comes back, he ended up having mercy on the whole nation and saved the Israelites that was of the elect that believed in him. But through their children, the Israelites that didn't believe are going to be reborn as their children. So the elect, I guess you could say, kind of become like the patriarchs of the kingdom. But obviously we already got our patriarchs though, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? But then the elect men and the women, well, the elect men in particular, they are going to become like the new patriarchs, because every descendant, or they're going to become an extra patriarch, I guess you could say. I'm not making this no doctrine or nothing like that. I'm just trying to make it make sense in my mind, right? Because just like how every single Israelite ultimately goes back to Abraham, every single Israelite also ultimately goes back to Isaac. And every single Israelite also goes back to Jacob, right? But then there's gonna come a time where there's certain Israelites that go back to Benjamin, but they also just go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And there's gonna be Israelites that go back to one of them particular members of the elected nation of Israel, but they all ultimately go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Verse 29, that no flesh should glory in his presence. You can't get proud because you believe in the Lord. Because guess what, bro? You don't believe in the Lord because you wanted to believe in him. Because when you was, if it was to go back, for some people it takes more, but let's say, let's go extreme with it. If it was to go back 60 years in history right now, how many people would believe what we believe now if we go back 60 years in time? Not a long time, really. But if we was to go back 60 years, would even any of our apostles believe what they believe now? If we to go back 60 years, that's just over half a century. Would anyone believe this particular doctrine? Maybe some people would believe that they're Israelites still, but would anyone believe all of this? No. So this is not even really that old of a belief system, man. Not really. It's not even a century old, believing that we're Israelites with all of these details and this particular doctrine, the reincarnation, that's Cornelius was an Israelite, Israelites are scattered, Yahushua is a so-called black man. All of the, like America's Babylon the Great, the MOTBs, the micro CHIP, all of these different things. Like, how many people would even believe it, man? So, can you really glory? Like, you ain't making no one get into the kingdom. You don't even know if you're gonna get into the kingdom yourself. No flesh can glory. But the burden, like I said before, the burden of the word of the Lord was given only to the elect of the nation of Israel, man. Everybody else ain't got it, man. They don't care. The rest of our people don't care about whether we're Israelites or not. They really could care less. Some of them will say, yeah, we are the Israelites, but so what? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're the Israelites anyway, but everyone can receive salvation. Like, they don't think that, man, we should be getting treated differently now because we're Israelites then. If I'm accepting that we're Israelites, we should be getting treated different because they'll accept that they're the Israelites, but we're still, like, some of these people are so still lost with this doctrine and don't understand what we're believing that they think that we're trying to claim that we are the small hats. No, we're saying we're the sons of Jacob for real, and that those people are something else. But some of these people, they still don't get it, and they wouldn't even understand that that's a big deal. As if we haven't been treated like complete trash because the world tried to make it like we was uncivilized and that it was swinging in trees in Africa. But if we are actually the Israelites, then all the things that are done in the Bible were done by us. All the things that you read about King Solomon doing, right? All the things that you read about that the Israelites had and did, that was us doing it. But they tried to make it like we don't have no culture, we don't have no history, but we've got a great history if we are the Israelites. But people don't care. They literally don't think it's a big deal if we are the Israelites, but we are the Israelites though, right? And none of you people out there are able to stop us from believing it. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna take it here. I'd rather, even if I wasn't an Israelite, right? Even if we're actually not an Israelites, it would be better. The life that we live is better, even if we're lying about it. Even if we're actually not really Israelites, and this is all just a trick we all got together at the National Black Man's Meeting, the National Black Native American and Latino Man's Meeting, and said, you know what, we need to trick the world, and we need to make them feel better about ourselves. What can we come up with? And then someone said something else, and be like, you know, why don't we pretend that we're Israelites? Oh yeah, let's get down with it. What can we try and use to trick them? Well, let's go to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to just pretend that that's talking about us, even though it matches us so perfectly. We're just gonna pretend that it's talking about us, though. No, we didn't trick no one. This is what it is. We fit Deuteronomy 28 because we're the people. It's not because we deliberately let Esau put us into captivity so that later on we could claim Deuteronomy 28 was the Atlantic slave trade. No. What are you on about, man? Because you'll notice, if you're paying attention, that we apply Deuteronomy 28 to ourselves more then what the small hats apply it to themselves. They've never said that anything bad's happening to them for Deuteronomy 28. They've never said that the hollow thing that they went through, the Germany event, they never said that happened to us because we were sinning against God. They never said that, because then that would mean that they deserved it. But they don't want to make out like they deserved anything. They want to make it like they're always the victim and people are just bullying them all the time and that they haven't ever did anything to anyone. That's how they want to play it, as being an Israelite. And people will say to us when we're saying that we're the Israelites, right? They'll say, why are you mad at the white man when it's your fault then? Because you sinned. But they don't say that about the hollow thing. They don't say that about the Germany thing with the guy with the dodgy mustache. If you're to believe that story happened. They don't say, why are you mad about that? That happened to you because you sinned. They never say that. But they'll say it to us though. And the reason why they say it to us is because we're really the Israelites. Everyone always has an excuse for why we went through what we went through, because, oh, but you sinned. Oh, but what? Yeah, but you did you did this and you did that. But they don't say that to the small hats because we're the Israelites, man. Now let me get this and I might end the lesson. Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8, for by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves is the gift of God. The burden of faith, the burden of the word of the Lord was given to the elect only, not of works, as any man should boast, even though it has works. The burden of faith comes with works. You're going to do a lot. Like the faith that certain men have right now might make them resurrect somebody from the dead one day. It might make them stop a moving bullet. It might make them, it might make them pick up a tank and throw it. It might make them uproot a damn aircraft carrier out of the sea. It might make them fly. It might make them make food come out of the ground, or food just teleport out of nowhere. It's going to make them do a lot. But the faith that you have is not of yourselves anyway. Verse 10, for we are his workmanship created in a Mashiach Yahushua unto good works, which Yahweh before ordained that we should walk in them. And just like how he's ordained that the elect are going to walk in their ways, he's also ordained that the faithless are going to walk in their ways, man. They're going to scoff. They've been made enemies for the gospel's sake, right? But they're elected, they're chosen for the sake of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who are the fathers. Shalom to the elected. Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.